Welcome back to the Foundry.
So we
This
should call it that. Better late than never.
this week we have a lot of stuff, and so we're kind of operating off of no notes. But the thing we were talking about off air was basically getting out of the game enough to see what your business is actually doing. And there's a couple of examples that we have working here. But what we found is, and this kind of ties into the behavior thing we talked about last week. You're running a business, you're in charge, you're the boss, you have the sign on your door that says I'm the boss. And what you end up getting, you hire an employee, and they, because they aren't trained or they're not up to par on things, what it turns into is you've hired another person to do their job for them. And a lot of times, the real development comes when you can actually step out of the game. It's the entire E-Myth thing, work on your business, not in your business stuff. But I don't want to simplify it like that because I know that's not always realistic for everybody. So today's episode is about getting out of the game. And so I'll throw you a couple of examples. Brian and I will talk about it with managing people and what pitfalls and gaps it can create in your business when you're too far into the game and you're not able to step over to the sidelines and look. All right.
Yep. No notes today, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to rapid fire. You ask
So
me something, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
so an example I came up with was when I was my entire background before this was youth care. Um, by the I get to humble brag here. By the time I was in my mid 30s, I had accomplished literally everything I had set out to do in that specific industry, and I was one or two seats removed from the executive chair. Um, and so my last job was like a director. Um, and the thing that was holding me back was I hadn't completed my master's, and that was the thing that would allow me to get into CE, CEO, all those other C suite kind of things.
Right.
Okay. One of the things in my shelter that the shelter had previously struggled with before I took over was the fact that a lot of the compliance paperwork was left incomplete. A lot of the payment systems and things that ensured the shelter got the money from their contracts weren't getting done and weren't getting submitted on time. Um, and a couple of other, like the structural material things, the training sides of it, attending the trainings that are mandated by the state and all that other stuff. So long story short, the problem they had before was, and this is not to dog out the previous person. The person that was, the last two people that they had were complete opposites. The one that quit right before I came aboard, they hid in their office, and since they didn't necessarily know how to manage the unit, whenever a crisis would jump off, new staff were left on an island with no support. The person before them, they avoided the hard, boring work because it's easier for them to go out and manage the shelter. Okay. The way I approached it was I will jump in and help out on the unit when I am absolutely needed. And any other time you can find me in my office working on other stuff, working on the boring compliance stuff that actually keeps our contracts up to date and make sure that we get paid for the work that we're doing. And I had people that resented me for that because they're like, well, the last guy, he came out here all the time. I ain't him. And that's why you bombed the last compliance review, the last accreditation thing, because he
Right.
wasn't doing the stuff. The ability I had, and I was told early on, we don't want you in the unit doing all that stuff because that was the problem before. The benefit I had was I could step out of the game. I could step onto the sidelines and manage the game from the sidelines. Now, here's the caveat to it. Everything's upside down. Kids are bouncing off the walls, screaming. They're about to call the cops and all the other stuff. I could go in there and get it settled really easily. And they're like, well, if you can get it done this easily, why aren't you always doing it? I've been doing this for 15 years. I know this is second nature to me. The stuff that's boring is the stuff that's hard. And that's what I'm trying to work on right now so that we all have a job to come to on Monday. And they couldn't see it. And what happens with a lot of business owners, you get stuck in the game. You never get a chance to step off the sidelines and actually advance the business.
Right. And so we've talked about this in the past where there's levels to this whole thing.
Mhm.
You're starting a business, you're a startup, you're by yourself, you got to do all the grinding, all the work. That's where the hard work is done, right? That's level 0,
Yep.
right? Then you move to level 1 where you're doing both. You're starting to hire people. You got to make sure they're doing it to the spec that you want them to do it at. Got
Mhm.
to make sure they can maintain that. You're managing them. You're doing it at the same time, like I said. Then you get level 2 where it's you start delegating. Still doing a little bit because you're trying to grow the business. Now,
Mhm.
to fully grow the business, you got to go to level 3 where you can step outside of those daily maintenance tasks that you should have delegated 100% of,
Right.
right? Now you're level 3, you can start working on things to grow the business, to make things more efficient, to fix the broken things that need to be fixed.
Mhm.
That's where you spend your time. Like that's what Brian's talking about. He was level 3 there, right? Then you get to level 4, which is where everybody wants to get to. And I think that's the top of the mountain. It may be. It's not a bad place to sit.
Mhm.
Level 4 is when you can step back even further out of the game. And you're not really managing the team from the sideline. You own the team and you're up in the press box,
Mhm.
right? That's level 4. And now you're really focusing on major growth
Mhm.
or just doing other things outside of the game,
Yeah.
outside of the sport, to keep with the analogy. You might invest in other businesses and start something else up or semi-retire, whatever it is. But level 4 is, I'm not saying it's the max, but that's the place everybody should strive to get to if that's their goal. If you're stressed every day and you don't
Mhm.
like what you're doing, you know, you got to level up to decrease that stress. Now, there's some people that, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but like you own a pizza joint
Mhm.
where they're at level 5. Stay with me here.
Mhm.
They're working every day in the business because they absolutely love every aspect of it.
Mhm.
From making the dough to slinging the pizza out to the customer, they love every single aspect. That's level 5. That's my take on it. That's my analogy and my
Mhm.
take on the whole system because people can't seem to understand that they have to change what they're doing. You can't just keep hammering your head to a wall.
Well, and so because level 5 also is they've also mastered all the other parts of the business, and it's a machine that runs around them,
Right.
and it gives them the freedom to just say, "Okay, this is the part of the business I wanna be in. Everything else is set up to run by itself." So, I'll ask you, what part of it is Jerry Jones in with the Dallas Cowboys? What level is he at?
That's funny. I think he might be probably you're talking to an Eagles fan.
Mhm.
Keep that in mind. um, level he's probably level 2. He's got
I
his
th
hand in too much things.
I think he's a level 4 seat where he
Oh yeah,
has it.
he thinks he's level 4.
Yeah, he is in level 4 seat operating a level 2 mentality where he it's not like the other side. It's not like, because it would be different if his involvement in fiddling around with the business was actually improving the outcomes on the field. We all see that
Right.
it is not. And so, um, it's not working for him. But he said, "I don't care if it tanks. I like doing this. This is what I wanna do. I don't really care, like, either they win by the way I want to win, or we don't win at all." And that's what he said. And so, but I think he's kind of in a level 2 seat. He's in a level 4 seat with a level 2 mentality.
You could
And
call that though level 5 if you want. If he's truly
mhm,
happy with like this is what I want to do.
yeah.
Don't care.
But level 5s are winning.
That's fair. I mean, yes, yes.
Level 5 doesn't give a generational contract to Dak Prescott.
Listen, I'm an Eagles fan. Keep it up. Keep it up, Jerry.
Uh,
Jerry.
I'm a Chiefs fan, and so I look at when I see level 5, I'm looking at like Clark Hunt, where he's like, "Andy, all this stuff can be yours. You can do all whatever you want to. Just make sure the money keeps flowing, and we sell it. We keep sell you keep on field product decent enough so that we can keep selling jerseys." And
Yep.
last season was an anomaly. I still do think Clark Hunt basically told Andy, "You had better not re-sign Nagy. You better not give him a contract. You need to let him leave. Bring back the guy that worked."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the difference is, yes, Jerry Jones is in the level 5 seat, right? Technically, but the team's not winning.
Right. I would argue. I would argue in order for level 5 to be a true level 5, everything's working like you said, everything else is working around you and um you're doing it what the part that you want to do.
Exactly. Like Sirianni is trying to get to level. Like he's edging towards level was it level 4? I want to say
Yeah,
let's say he's
he's
level
edging towards level 4. He's trying, but I don't know
he's
if
trying
yeah.
but the hires that he's making aren't good. Or they
Yeah.
have not been good and they've been his
TBD this
limitation.
year.
Yeah.
TBD.
And
Uh
so
so yeah, I agree with you. I think level 5 is where everything else is working around you and you
mhm.
get to pick what you want to do. There's also level 6 where you just sell your company and go live on an island if that's your thing.
Yeah, you find your exit and
Yeah.
let it be somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Or you find your exit, retain your shares because that's what a lot of people do when they get their exit. They keep their shares, stay on an advisory role to make sure the transition works well. If it works well, then you have a cash generating asset that you don't have to really do anything on.
Mhm.
And that, but what we're saying is this: a lot of business owners never get themselves out of the game, and
Right.
sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's fear. If I step out, this whole thing will fall down. Sometimes it is a real thing. If I step out, this whole thing will fall down.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes it's I don't trust anybody to do the thing that I used to do. And then the other side is I don't trust anybody, even though I've trained them to do it. I don't trust them to survive a mistake.
Right.
And so there are different layers to this entire thing. And when you are too far in the game, when you're constantly where you are the key man failure, you're the key man risk. Um, what happens is you can end up making that your permanent reality, and you've basically erected a prison for yourself that you hate because the warden is psychotic because the warden is you.
Right.
And um,
And
that's
you're
kind.
also to stay with your analogy, you're also like the ball hawk
Mhm.
out there in the game.
Oh yeah,
You're not passing it off. You're trying to like it's like you against the rest of the team.
you're the point guard that doesn't pass and can't shoot.
Yeah.
And the rest of
Yeah.
the team eventually the rest of the team will hate you, and that's kind of what happens. And so oftentimes you have the person that never delegates anything,
Mhm.
and they're scared that if they hand it off to this employee is gonna screw it up in some unfathomable way that they'll never be able to recover from. And it's like, okay, so let's go back to the because I've mentioned this a lot. Is this something they cannot do or will not do? They
Mhm.
cannot do, that means that you need to do more training. If they will not do, that probably means you need to do some kind of disciplinary stuff and probably move on from them or find a way to move on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can we revisit that like the like having staff and stuff that is like I think if they hate you, it's
mhm.
an environment where you're not going to grow your business. You're just creating just a really bad like you said prison.
Yeah.
And it's like the opposite of that is be getting to a place where you can give autonomy to your staff.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking of restaurants and stuff specifically in my head right now, but like I know a couple places around town where there's waitresses that haven't left there in 15 years.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because they hate their job? Absolutely not.
Right.
It's because they have full autonomy, they're probably paid well, and they're a well-oiled machine. The
Well,
happier people are when they work, the better the culture and team is, then, there's less work you gotta do as the owner.
the happier they are, the more autonomy they feel, the more comfortable they feel in doing the thing. The more comfortable they feel if they make a mistake, the world is not going to end.
Right.
If they feel all these things, that's the way to keep employees around, people that you like. Because you wonder, well, this person can go off and start their own thing. But a lot of people, they just want to be able, they don't want the stress of maintaining a business. They like coming in,
No.
getting their paycheck and going home.
It takes
And
I've talked to friends before because most of my friends don't aren't entrepreneurs and don't run businesses.
Mhm.
Um, they're I've heard several times that, I couldn't do what you do, Brian. Like,
Mhm.
it takes a special, I don't know, not caring about the risks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It takes a certain brain to go and
Personality.
attempt to do the thing. So to think that someone's going to run off with your stuff or idea or something like you said, um, I agree with you that that's not going to be the case more than you know more than 99% of the time.
Yep. And it seeps over into when you have staff that do hate you, you get into that malicious compliance kind of thing, or where you're actively getting sabotaged. I actually had it where I had staff openly retaliate against me because they got caught stealing, and I fronted them off about it and said, "You're stealing from my kids
Hmm.
in my program." And I tried to do the discipline thing, and they did what they did is started calling out sick and all this other stuff to try to handicap our ability to operate and function to get back at me. And that environment was created by what had previously existed there,
Hmm.
where they felt like they were the ones in charge of it. They wanted to be in charge of the program and none of the accountability for the outcomes of the program. And so that's what happens when you have people that um, are not happy and you don't move them out of you don't decide, oh, maybe this place isn't for you, or you don't find a way to find a way to give them something to come to work for.
Yeah.
And
So
so
there. So have you seen it? Because I haven't run a lot of staff. I
mhm,
usually work with independent contractors, and I'm working inside other people's companies where I don't have hiring and firing ability. Usually, I make recommendations and stuff. But
mhm.
have you seen it where you can take what was previously a toxic employee and turn them around? Um, I I think that's the wrong one because toxic employees are a different personality than what
Yeah.
I think we're really talking about. You have toxic people that I don't know that you can turn them around, but people that maybe haven't been the best employee and been able to be turned around.
Mhm. I think it's finding the lever because there's some people that get labeled as toxic and they're just unhappy.
That's fair.
And other people that are actually toxic and they're just labeled as we just got to find the right thing for them. And so it's understanding what they're there for and what actually motivates them. And so sometimes finding that staff member that seems unmotivated and giving them a task that's their responsibility that they have accountability for and they'll get praised for if they do it right is enough to get them to turn the corner.
Right.
Other times, nothing will ever do. And the only thing they're ever happy with is for that specific staff member, they wanted to be in charge. And I'm sorry, you're not in charge here.
Right.
And so at that
Yeah.
point, it ended up becoming, um, you know, like the thing. I think the coup they tried to pull on us was, since they were the most tenured staff, they're like, "Well, I found a new job. I'm gonna quit." Okay,
Called their bluff.
yeah, congratulations. So when are you gonna do the 2 weeks or whatever? And this employee had it in their mind that I was supposed like, they thought that by saying, "I'm gonna quit," they thought I was gonna beg them to stick around, and really, we were just kinda like, "I really hope that she decides that this is not for her because she seems so unhappy, and it's making the kids miserable, it's making the
Right.
staff miserable, and she needs to go find something that she likes to do." And
100%.
so when she's like, "I'm gonna quit. I found another position." "Oh, congratulations. I'm really happy for you. I hope
Yeah.
that's what you want. So when do you put in your 2 weeks?" And then she didn't really have anything to say. Like, I could tell that it upended what she thought this meeting was going to be.
Right.
And so she's like, "Oh, well, I haven't really decided. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm gonna they made the offer. I don't know if I'm gonna take it and blah blah blah." It's like, well, let me know when you make that decision so that we can start figuring out what the transition plan is. Oh, O okay, well, yeah. It changed the dynamic of the conversation because it's like, if you don't wanna be here, I don't want you here if you don't wanna be here."
Yeah.
Because
100%.
we're not in the w this specific field is not rewarding inherently. You have to find your own reward in this. We're
Right.
working with damaged kids that have a lot of different issues.
Yeah.
We're working with damaged families that have a lot of issues. And so this is not a rewarding environment. You have to find your reward has to be seeing these kids succeed. And if that's not for you, and you're looking for some external thing like being in charge and being the queen of the castle. Sorry, I'm the king. I'm on the throne. You can't be here.
Right.
So you got to figure. You got to fit in where you get in. You know, you got to get in where you fit in because I'm not. I can't because you're not going to do the COA compliance stuff for me. You're not
Right.
going to pat. You're not going to attend these state meetings out in Kearney for me.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And so she kind of self-selected out. And then when I wasn't falling down and begging her, then it turned into how can I be helpful? What can I do? I do want to train. I would do want to. There it is. So yes,
Yeah.
you can recover it. Sometimes somebody is so
Miserable.
miserable that they just it the best thing for them is to move on, to go do something else
Yeah.
and find
I
something like
agree.
to do.
Yeah, and I've always kind of subscribed to the and I'd like for people to go out, and I can probably put it in one of the chats or something.
Mhm,
Gary V is a real big on hire fast, fire fast.
mhm,
Where that's it's good both ways because it's like he'll hire fast because he wants to give opportunity to people that may not have opportunity,
mhm,
right? So he hires them. He just gives them a shot, and if they don't work out, and he has his criteria or whatever, um, culture, doing the job right, understanding where you want to go, being feeling like you're getting something out of it,
mhm.
being like you said, it's something's rewarding to you. Um, and if it doesn't work out, he fires you fast. And it's no personal thing. He doesn't make it this negative thing. He makes it like, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go. And if you can't go with us, then you're gonna be left behind.
go find something else to do.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and my experience was we were since our hiring process, and this is I wanted to hire fast. I love to. At
mhm.
the time, we had an HR person that didn't even trust putting things on computers.
Right.
And it would take like every check, all the stuff was by fax machine
Mm.
and mail and stuff. And so I had to wait. Literally, she filed the wrong documentation for a background check for the employee, and so we had to go through this entire secretary, like Department of the State or whatever, one of the alphabet branches at the she made she screwed up and submitted this background check to the federal government in one of the alphabet agencies,
Right.
and I was literally waiting on this employee to get cleared from this thing that they did not have to do from the State Department.
Right.
I had to sit there and wait for her to get cleared from the State Department, or I think the State Department actually said, "You know, you really don't need us. I think you probably need to talk to your Secretary of State or whatever. You don't really need us in the loop."
Right.
And then after they told her that, "Oh, well, I don't need it," so she's back to background check. This employee was sitting out there for almost 5 months.
Yeah. See, no.
And so
And how's that make the employee feel?
yeah, and she was one of my best workers. She was one of my most educated workers. This was a pre-doctoral candidate who wanted to work with kids,
Right.
and help design my education program in my shelter. But she had to sit in limbo because this person that was on there wasn't on top of their game. So,
Right.
but that's besides the point. Where I came from, when you're working with people, it was hire slow, fire medium. Like you had to exhaust all the efforts to make sure
Right. Right. Yeah.
just because they're working with kids and stuff. But I get where you're going with it because there are segments where sometimes somebody is just not the right fit. But then the other
Yeah.
side is if you're in that mode or you hire fast, fire fast, then you have to make sure that your shit is together. You have to make sure your poop is in the group.
100%.
And I think that's where a lot of business owners kind of screw up. Is like, so was this a bad hire or was I a bad shepherd of the hire?
Yeah.
Did I train them? Did I provide them materials to be successful? You
Yeah.
know, I'm thinking
Sorry.
about
I thought I think it's important to note for business owners to know that what you're talking about, like a good staff will take you to the moon,
yeah.
you know?
Uh,
And
uh,
it's important. It's an important piece of leveling up that I was talking about.
It's
being
a
able to
ba-
get to a point where you can get the right help, that it's
right.
it's it's a supporting cast, right?
It's a balance between me and my approach and what Alec Baldwin was doing on Glenn Ross,
Yeah.
where he's like, we're having a contest. First place, new Cadillac. Second place, a box of steak knives. Third place, you're fired.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
um, and so I think there's a balance there. But I understand Gary, if he is a fast pace and already has a machine, all he has to do is drop you into the machine, and if you can handle the machine, you can have success in that machine.
That's
And
right.
so I think this leads into what we're talking about. Another thing we're talking about is the machine part of the message in the machine and what's going on with Hey There. Um,
Yeah. So I got Hey There Marketing and launched it last week. It's essentially a complete marketing department for small businesses.
mhm.
Um, we'll go into it maybe another episode. I think we should highlight both my business and Brian's business, which we've never done in the Foundry, so you kind of know what we're doing in life. Like the Foundry is, pardon me, the Foundry is kind of a therapy session for Brian and I that we
Mhm.
put in front of the public. Sorry, I got a cough.
That's all right.
That we put in front of the public that really helps flesh out what's in these ADHD brains and get, where am I going with this? By doing that, it helps people understand that this business thing is hard, it's difficult, but there's ways out.
Well, and it's also getting into the brain of the marketer, because the marketer's brain is something that a lot of people don't quite understand, because we're equal parts creatives and have to be structural business minded people. And so, and typically creatives aren't the best business people. And structural business people aren't the best creatives. And so when you're sitting in the marketing seat, you kind of have to be both,
Yeah.
because you have to be able to think outside the box and understand how it fits in the box.
And the
And so,
reality is we see so many different kinds of businesses, right? So we have all this experience on how, like, different, all the issues people have, we've run into. I mean,
mhm,
I've been doing it 24 years, 25 years at this point, and I've seen a lot of different shit, right?
right,
Different problems, different issues. But then you start picking up patterns, right? Then you
right,
start seeing like, shit, every business owner does XYZ. Every business owner has trouble getting out of their own way,
right.
right? So what I built it for was the small business owners out there, small to medium size, the places that don't have a marketing department, because
Mhm,
marketing consulting and marketing coaching is something that Brian and I both do, but it's not something that most small businesses can afford, because it's a long, kind of arduous process where we go into bigger companies and do that, right?
mhm,
So we found ways to carve out niches for the small business. Brian's is figuring out a way to produce content to make sure your business gets found easier and more
mhm.
often, right?
Yep.
Mine is building systems for people so they can keep track of their marketing, keep track of what's going on, keep track of what they need to do, right?
Right.
And then do those things. Sorry.
Yep. And
I'm
I
like
would say
choking here today. I don't know what the deal is.
I
Um,
I think a lot of it is because you mentioned it. I think the way I would almost describe Hey There is as your business intelligence. It's your marketing, your marketing executive in a box. The
yeah,
entire, like, the marketing executive manages the copywriter, they manage the social media manager, they manage the ad guy, the ad buyer and whatnot. And so you have all of that in one box.
yeah. I've broken it down. I built 29 AI agents that help run this. So basically,
Mhm,
it's four separate departments. It's the intelligence department that gathers all your data for everything about your company, your 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 reviews, your
mhm,
social insights, your all that stuff. Grabs all that data. That's the intelligence department. Then you got the marketing department that handles all the what to say, how to say it, your personality, the brand, handles
mhm,
the brand part of your business. Then you have the sales department, which keeps track of your sales and what you're selling and um, how that looks, different days. And it has intelligence that it uses the intelligence from the intelligence department to help it build sales processes for you.
Right.
Then you have the customer care, the last department that runs like look and keeps track of your reviews and your Google business profile and keeps track of, this person left this review, they're not happy about XYZ. Two other people said the same thing last week and
Mhm.
left you a 3-star review or something. You need to handle this and figure out a solution. Here's a solution, right?
Mhm.
So it's those 4 departments wrapped up into a box, like you said, and then it gives you all the data and it presents my clients for Hey There with an executive choice. It's a dashboard that helps them say, "This is what's going on in your business,
Mhm.
boss." You know,
Well,
do you want to
and
approve this? Do you want to deny this? And that's all you're doing. You worry about approving the decisions and not worry about all the other marketing stuff.
I think the piece that people miss is because we talk about marketing as a holistic thing for your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I say that, um, I'll say, like for a brick and mortar, all right, so you seem to have a drop off at this time during the day, like sales kind of fall off a cliff, even though it's still busy. Okay, what is your staff doing at that time of day? Who's working? Are they greeting people? What's the process like when people come in? Well, this staff member's there, but they're not necessarily engaged. Well, let me see what that looks like. Let me
Mm-hmm.
come in and be the secret shopper and kind of see what my experience is. Okay, I came in, I didn't get greeted. They acted like I was they're irritated to even have served me or anything. And so this is where the problems are, and this is where the breakdown's happening. This is what I suggest you do. That's marketing. It's the staff. Yeah, we need to train the staff on how to greet people and hold them accountable. That is marketing.
Yeah, because that's your brand.
That's your brand.
That's the customer experience, and the customer experience is your brand. Yeah.
And people don't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of business owners, specifically when you are in the game and not on the sidelines, you don't really get a chance to make those connections. And so that's what Hey There kind of helps you make some of these
Mm-hmm.
connections online. My side of it is I'm moving more into the coaching side of stuff. Because sometimes, when you got like if you got a team out there, sometimes the player just needs to be told where to stand and where they're supposed to be. You don't need the entire playbook yelled at them. They just, they need to know where to stand. And and from a marketing coach side of me, I'll tell you where to stand and where to move to and what to
Mm-hmm.
happen when this happens. And you just go out there and run the plays and then come back and then we figure out how to get the plays into your muscle memory. So it's
Right.
something that you automatically do. Um, and as a result, with I Sell Words, there's a couple of things with the media room and I Sell Words. There's a couple of things that I'm working on that do kind of frame marketing in this more holistic thing, and I'm testing it out with a couple of test clients. And so I have something to announce to you guys, hopefully within the next week or so. But all this stuff is connected, and it does tie into what Brian is doing with Hey There, and so we'll have something. I'll have a little bit more definitive stuff, but understand this: my goal as the marketing coach is to get you to step outside of the game and look from the sidelines a little bit and see what your players are actually doing as opposed to playing next to them. It's easy to see. It's easy to point at the guy that missed the block, but
Right.
did you catch the other guy that missed the block on the other side that actually created
Yeah.
the pressure?
And did you discuss why everybody keeps missing blocks?
Yeah, what's
That's
happening?
yeah. That's the systematic approach to the other side. That's the Hey There side that Brian's talking about. Um, it's confusing. I know. You got 2 Brians.
Mhm.
One does one thing, one does another. But we'll make it clear when everything's ready and running smooth. So
Mhm.
I'm excited for Brian to do his thing. It does match up with what I'm doing, and I'm excited for Hey There to get moving. Um, it's the way where this all lands is Brian and I think this is the way of marketing being done in
Mhm.
the future. I think it's not like it used to be. It's not going to be um, There's going to be more face to face time and
Mhm.
face to face with what's going on in your business that may not have happened in the past. Marketing agencies used to come into businesses and we got it. You don't worry about it. We got it. We're going to handle it.
Mhm.
And it always would fall off a cliff, or, it would cost you a fortune. Or I just think it's more obtainable now. It's
Mhm.
easier to get the right information in front of a business owner and allow them to understand what marketing means, what it's doing to their business, and what they're not doing that they should be doing. You know,
Right.
I said it last week and maybe the week before. Brian and I's real ultimate goal is to demystify marketing for
Yeah.
people. Understand why you need it. Understand what to do with it, and understand where it can take your business.
Yep. And that's really what the goal of the show is. That's what initially this was called the message in the machine because that's how we viewed it. I did the messaging, Brian worked on the machine side of things, and that
Mhm.
still is very much intact. But it's understanding the different parts of your marketing and seeing how they integrate with one another. The marketing is what your business does and how it exists and how it shows up and how it serves clients. And
Yeah.
so we want you guys to wrap your heads around that. Um, I really don't have anything else. I'm hearing the thunder rumble in, and so I want to get off before we get cut off.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
So,
so thanks everybody. I appreciate it, and apologies that we got the Foundry. It's still there. Um I'm going to be honest. We may switch it back to messaging machine. It
yeah,
may be something we just one more thing and then we can go. I really just want to drive the point home that we want to be able to provide, we want to use this as content for ourselves, right?
uh-huh.
But in order for Brian and I to both feel right in our guts to do this the right way, we want to provide value,
Yeah.
and we want to have a community support around it. And it's really important for us for people to engage with it and learn from something from it.
We really want to make the Foundry into something that is a utility for you guys that you can turn to and express your frustrations and have a community of people that jump in, answer questions. We want to make it where you can learn some basic marketing things to help your business organization thrive.
Hmm.
And we're trying to figure out the right way to package it and what to put in there. And so, whether it be the message in the machine, whether it remains the Foundry, who knows? But the goal is to give it lot of utility for it. And the only
Yeah.
way that it happens is by people asking questions and engaging and stuff. And so it's figuring out the right lever that we have to pull to make it more engaging
Yep.
for you guys and more give it more utility. And so we're still figuring that piece out. But it is what it is. We do appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm Brian. I will talk to you guys later.
I am also Brian, and I will talk to you later. Well,
All right.
appreciate everybody.
Have a great week. Talk to you later. Peace.